Welcome everyone to tonight's live stream as we get things kicked off tonight here with the Redeemer Royals men's volleyball team facing the visiting Humber Hawks. This is our first home volleyball action of 2026. And the first serve from Royals starting setter Ben Brower is served to the back right corner, and Humber got a touch on it but couldn't field a pass to their setter. Went back out of play, and first point goes the way of Redeemer. Brower again with the serve. This one's more successful. Set out to the left side for Humber. That one's tipped. It's set by Bourne. Up to the back row for Hybert. I don't think that's where they wanted it, but Hybert made do and wins the point for Redeemer. They've got the first two on the board. The last time these two teams met was on November 1st at Humber's gym, and they were able to secure a 3-1 victory over the Royals, but they're both sitting about equal in the table. The Royals at 5-5, the Hawks at 5-4. Both still in that playoff picture, but this could be huge for both of those teams going down the stretch. Would put Redeemer above 500 and would clear Humber further past that mark as Brower sends his fourth serve long. We'll have our first service from Humber as we get service from their starter setter, Nicholas Kozic. It's a set for Brower, quick to Marshall in the middle. Set back up again to Zomerman on the left side. That one comes off the block and down on Humber's side. Point Redeemer. They're off to a 4-1 lead. We've got number 4, Simon Bourne, serving now. Ben Brower, Simon Bourne, along with Jonah Hybert, Jack Demick, Jeremiah Zomerman, and Luke Marshall are the starters for the Royals tonight. Zomerman and Marshall not necessarily featuring much in games in 2025 in the first semester. Much less in the starting lineup, but it's good that they've both got the chance to shine here tonight as Humber makes a nice pass, sets it out to the right side, and that one's hit wide down the line. It's called out by the linesman, and the point will go to Redeemer. They're off to a 5-1 lead to start. Oh, but that call has been reversed. It looks like maybe there was a touch off the block. So that would have been 6-1 Redeemer if it had gone the way of Redeemer, but this will be 5-2 in favor of the Royals. Back with Humber serving. It's number 16, Taven Blackmore, and he serves that one into the net. Starting for the Hawks tonight, Nicholas Kozic, Dante Sugarman, Kyle Gray-Phillips, Apollo Braz, Taven Blackmore, and Enzo Endres. The Royals out with a 6-2 lead. Serve coming from Marshall here. That one's fluffed by the serve receive. This will be a free ball for the Royals. Demick's under it. Passes it to Brower, set it to the right side for Zomerman. A good hit, but blocked out of bounds. Last touch off Humber. Maybe point for the Royals. And Marshall will get the chance to serve again. And Marshall serves that one short. The two changes to Redeemer's starting lineup looks to be in replacement of Jared Prinsloo and Silas Brookelman. Silas Brookelman looks like he's dressed on the bench to play tonight, but Jared Prinsloo looks like he's in his tracksuit, so won't be suiting up tonight as Demick tries to tip that one over through the middle. Brower will have another set, and that set is low for Demick. He somehow gets it over without being called for a lift, and the free ball over goes into the net, and it'll be another point for Redeemer as they jump out to 8-3 lead. This is Zomerman now to serve for the Royals. One's hit deep to the back right. It's passed up, and a quick set through middle. Comes right off the Redeemer libero Carson Grimm, but stays in play. I don't think Carson had enough time to react to that one, but whether it came off his chest or his neck or something, he kept it up, and Redeemer wins the eventual point. So he was in the right place at the right time, and credit to him. Be Zomerman again. A little bit of knuckle on that one. It's been difficult for the Humber serve receive a lot of these Redeemer serves, and they'll give a free ball to the Royals. Ben Brower sets it to the middle for Jack Demick. He gets the tip in between the block and the net. The Humber has to get that one over on their third hit, but they cannot. They're off to a slow start as the Royals hit double digits, and Humber will call an early timeout. Fantastic start for Redeemer. Really the only blemish on them. I think even they've missed 2 serves, so 2 of Humber's 3 points are just the Royals missing serves. Redeemer not giving up much early, and good on them. I'd like to remind you that tonight's Redeemer Royals volleyball game is proudly brought to you by Finn Pools, a proud sponsor of your Royals and the Make a Splash move of the game. For over 25 years, Finn Pools has been transforming backyards with custom designs, expert installations, and trusted maintenance, delivering top-quality products they stand behind. From concept to completion, they believe kindness matters and every project deserves excellence. If you're interested, visit finnpools.ca, that's FINNPOOLS.ca, to learn more or to start your next pool project today. Thank you to Finn Pools for supporting Redeemer Royals Athletics. This is Zomerman to serve again for the Royals just out of the timeout. Boasting a 10-3 lead at the moment, does Redeemer. This one's set out to the right side. Demick gets over for the block, but it comes off the right side of his hand and hits the ground on Redeemer's side. Will be a point to Humber. This is Enzo Endres, the outside hitter, serving for the Hawks at the moment. A high spinning serve with a lot of dip on it. That one just catches the back line. The Redeemer serve receive was frozen. But it was very, very close to being out. But nevertheless, another point the way of Humber. That's 2 straight points out of the timeout for them. Another serve. Well passed up by Hybert. He's going to get the setup to the left side. And that one's going to be called out. And that one a little bit close to the net for Hybert to do much with. Had to tip it. And went out wide down the line. Third straight point goes the way of Humber. Andres hits that one a little bit long. Gives Redeemer their first point out of this timeout. 11-6 now the score, and it'll be Jonah Hybert going back to the line to serve. Little floating serve from Hybert passed up by Blackmore, and he's going to hit that out of back row, back to Hybert. This one's close to the net, and Brower does the nifty little tip. We've seen him do that countless times this season when it just gets too close to the net to do much with. A little back of the hand tip over the net into the little short corner has been working very well for Ben Brower this season, and he catches Humber sleeping. Royals get back up to doubling Humber's point tally. And Hybert sends that one a little bit short in that empty pocket. It looks like he's going to be gearing up to do a big, powerful serve, but kind of just floats it in there, and the Humber's libero almost made it, but not quite. It's Alex Segi, number 15, the Humber libero. Hybert again trying to find that little spot. It's an awkward serve receive, and Humber will give a free ball to Redeemer again. Seems to be working. Grimm with the first pass. Brower set to the left side. And that's just a little bit low for Bourne to get much downward momentum on. Just hits it long out of bounds. Service back with Humber. And this will be the number 8 outside hitter, Kyle Gray-Phillips, with his first serves of this game. Lots of spin on that one. Walcott in the Redeemer libero spot, correctly leaving that one at the last second. This restores Redeemer's doubling lead, 14-7 currently, as we get Jack Demick going to the back line. This is his first serve of the game, and that one's unfortunately short. Luckily, Redeemers put themselves in a place where they have a large lead early in this first set. You don't want to plan for those mistakes to happen, but when they do, you've built yourself a little bit of a buffer. Hybert passes that one, and the set right back to Marshall in the middle. Quick attack comes off the block and hits the ground on Humber's side of the court. Point goes the way of Redeemer. And we've got all the way back through the rotation as we'll get Ben Brower serving for his second time of this game. Serve. Blackmore passes. The attempted tip over was sent back, but the second set out to Blackmore on the left side. No mistake. Drills it into the Redeemer back corner for a Humber point. We've got Kozich now serving for Humber. He tries a really short drop serve, and Marshall unable to pass it where he wanted to. That one went out wide. Humber now hitting double digits in this set. Only trail Redeemer by 5 now. This is Kozich again. A little bit more of a direct serve. Heidberg gets under it. Brower tries to adjust, send it out to the right side for Bourne. That one's passed up. Set it to the left side for Blackmore now. Heibert the pass. Brower out to the right side for Bourne again. That one comes off some fingertips and inbounds. A point for Redeemer. Good trust by Ben Brower, getting it out to Bourne twice in the same set, and he finishes on his second chance. I believe we'll have Simon Bourne serving now for the Royals. We will. That one was a laser, just a little bit wide. 16-11 now. Humber trailing still by 5. Served by Blackmore, comes off the net. That's a couple touches for Redeemer already. They get their third over. Passed up by Segi, and a quick set by Kozich to the middle. Apollo Braz with that quick attack out of the middle gets the point to Humber, and they have closed the gap to 4. This is Taven Blackmore serving. That one's long out of bounds. But the serve prior to that one just shows what he can do, and just found out he was last year's OCAA Player of the Year in men's volleyball, so some definite talent in that man that Redeemer will have to contain, but they seem to be a good job of doing it so far, as we've got a substitution for the Royals. Isaac Vrugdenhill coming into the game, the outside hitter. He's going to serve. It's out to the left side, but it's fluffed by the serve receive, and they can't get a third touch on it. There's been a lot of serves by Redeemer that have been just light, floaty serves. They must have some weird movement or spin on them, because Humber's been trying to set them, and they've always kind of just been spinning back up or behind them and not really what they want out of those passes, but Vrugdenhill gives them a gift and sends that serve into the net. And Luke Marshall will take him back out of the game. Looks like that was just a substitute for service. And looks like Redeemer libero Andrew Walcott will take Luke Marshall out, but I suppose Marshall had to sub in for Vrugdenhill to sub in for Walcott. Anyways, that one's set to Bourne in the back row. It passed by Blackmore, but it comes off the rafters. The point goes the way of Redeemer, who are 6 ahead of Humber and just 6 away from ending this first set, as we get Jeremiah Zomerman, the first year, going back to serve for Redeemer. Into that little gap again. It's passed up by Segi, the libero. Set by Grimm. Brower out to the left side for Hybert. I don't think that one came off the block. No, that one was just spun wide. Out of bounds. Point Humber. We'll have Enzo Endres serving again. Again, that spinning, dipping serve from Endres. And it looks like the whistle had gone even before Zomerman made contact on that hit, but infraction called against Reamer there. Not entirely sure what it was. I'll have to refresh myself on my volleyball referee hand signals, but for now we get another serve from Endres. That one catches the top of the net, but Demek's able to adjust as we get the set out to the left side for Hybert. That one comes off the block. Blackmore to Kozic, now gets it to Endres, who uses an adept tip to get it over the Redeemer block, and Walcott sprawls to try and keep it in play, but he cannot. Point will go the way of Humber, and they've closed Redeemer's lead to just 3. 19-16 now, with Redeemer leading in this first set. We'll have Redeemer take a timeout, but in the meantime, Redeemer Royals Volleyball would like to thank Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty, the official sponsor of our final score updates this season. Wes is passionate about helping families find their place to call home. Whether you're buying or selling, trust experience and integrity, and trust Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty. Thank you, Wes, for your ongoing support of Redeemer Royals Athletics. Out of the timeout, Endres still serving for the Hawks. And that one was, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Jeremiah Zomerman was standing out of bounds on his side of the court in the game, but out of bounds. And that serve by Endres was heading out of bounds, but Zomerman tried to jump to avoid it, and it hit his leg and is a point for Humber. I have never seen that before. And that brings Humber within 2 now, and mounting a good comeback. Walcott does well to pass that one up, and it's not sent right back at Redeemer. They'll set it up, and Endres will tip it to the back. Bourne just keeps that one away from the rafters. Set out to Hybert on the left side, and that one's off the block and out of bounds. Point goes the way of Redeemer. They reestablish their 3-point lead. A couple substitutes coming into the game for the Hawks. Got number 11, Sullivan Kofel. And number 9, Caleb Gould. In for Kozic and Endres. So we've got Hybert going back to the line to serve. The man who just won Redeemer, their most recent point, has the chance to do it again. Pass by Segi in a quick set. Out of middle. I'll look at who ended up hitting that one home, but nevertheless, point goes the way of the Hawks. It was a Dante Sugarman, I believe, for the Hawks with that attack in the middle. Nice pass by Walcott for the Royals. Brower with the setup to the left side. Bourne tries to tip it. It comes off the block and out of bounds. Redeemer will leave that one knowing they've won the point. 21-18 now. 3-point lead and 4 points away from taking this first set. So we see Lucas Yonker come into the game. Someone I've never seen featured in any of our home games yet this season. Might have had some action on the road, but nevertheless, a lefty gets the opportunity to serve here. Pass by Segi. set it to the left side for Blackmore. He makes wonderful work of that situation, and Bourne is able to throw his left hand at that one and keep it in. The Royals scrambling to keep the ball up. The fans confused as to why that one was called in the bench. I think 75% of them had their hands on their heads after that one. Maybe a bit of an unfair lift call against the Royals, but it was initially saved at the very back of the court. Zomerman may have pancaked it to keep it up, and Bourne just swung his left arm at it to club it back over to Humber's side of the court. And then when it came back over, they, by some marvel of effort, kept it up again. Unfortunately, it looks like Simon Bourne made no progress with the referee in terms of reversing that call. Maybe that wasn't the purpose. He just wanted to find out what the infraction was, but these points matter a lot. That's could have been a 4-point lead for the Royals, but instead puts them only 2 ahead of Humber. We've got service from the Hawks now. That one just catches the top of the net. Took a lot of speed off it for Walcott. Set out of the back row. And point the way of Humber. Looks like a Redeemer player had reached over the midline of the court, over the net. Humber within 1 now of Redeemer. This is number 6, Paul Manna, serving. Walcott again with a good pass to Brower. Set it to the left side. It was a bit close to the net. Bourne tries to send it to the other side of the court and unfortunately gives up a point. We'll level this game at 21, and it looks like Wes Skostra will call another timeout for the Royals. Redeemer was humming so well early in this set. I believe they jumped out to like an 8-3 lead or even more than that, but 21-21. Redeemer will not want to give up this first set. Let's hope they can come out swinging out of this timeout and reverse the momentum. Paul Manna still serving for the Hawks out of this timeout. The Humber bench leaning back in unison. It did not help get their serve over the net. So that point will go the way of Redeemer, and we'll have Ben Brower going back to serve. Fascinating how the Royals use both their liberos somewhat in different settings. I believe Andrew Walcott is in for most serve receive, and Carson Grimm will be in when Redeemer has service, if I'm picking up on that trend correctly. We have Brower with the serve now for the Royals, passed by Blackmore. Set out to the right side. That one's tipped and comes off the block of the Royals. And we'll level the game for the Hawks as Caleb Gould, the outside hitter, goes back to serve. Or actually, he'll be subbing out of the game. But we get Kozich and Andres back in, the Humber starters. Serve from Kozich. Passed by Hybert. Set it to the right side from Brower. That's Bourne with the hit. Awkward for Humber. They salvage something out of the right side. It's passed up by Brower. And Zomerman hits that off the block, out of bounds. Last touch off Humber. Point for the Royals. Puts them within 2 of ending this set. As Simon Bourne goes back to serve. And we'll get a timeout called by Humber. They'll want to talk things over, see if they can stop Redeemer's momentum. That was a big point. We'll see if that has any success. We'll be right back. Very close first set. Wasn't close for most of it, but Humber's narrowed things down here at the end. But Redeemer has the lead and the serve as Bourne sends that at Blackmore. He gives it back to the Royals. They'll have a free ball set to Marshall in the middle. He finds a pocket of space. No one able to pass it up for Humber. A nice set to middle and a good placed attack by Luke Marshall. We'll give Simon Bourne the chance to end this first set as the Redeemer fans get to their feet and do our little ritual we like to do at the end of sets. Set point coming from Simon Bourne. That one's hit back left, passed up by Blackmore, set out to Blackmore again. Off the block, they can't locate it. Dropped right at the feet of the blockers. Puts Humber back within one. So we'll have last year's OCAA Player of the Year, Taven Blackmore, serving. The packed house. That serve is right at Andrew Walcott. It's passed over to Humber's side of the court. They'll get a pass up from the back row. Oh my goodness. That might have been the most exceptional back row attack I have ever seen. Blackmore getting all the power on that one. Bourne got under it and hit it in the direction he wanted to, but just all the power coming from Blackmore's hit wasn't able to absorb as much as he wanted to, and it hit the roof. So we've got Blackmore now. Not set point, because now that we've got 24-24, it's a win by 2 situation. Kozic with the setup to the right side. That one's tipped. Walcott reacts quickly. Set it to the right side for Zomerman. He tries to react. That one's sent wide out of bounds, so it gives Humber service and set point with OCAA Player of the Year with the game in his, the set in his hands. Redeemer came out to a very, very strong start at the start of the set, and the second half of the set has not been as good, or maybe Humber was just slow to start, but these two teams are very equal in the standings, even though Humber won the earlier meeting 3-1. We've got Blackmore with the serve. Walcott set to Brower. Comes back off the block. Bourne with the setup to Hybrid on the left side. And looks like that's 4 hits on Humber, or a lift. Oh, lift called against Humber. Ties this game back at 25. We've got Luke Marshall, the third-year middle, serving. And that doesn't make it over, unfortunately. Gives set point back to Humber. So Paulo Braz. Here comes the serve. It's a floater. Demick's under it. Set out to Hybrid on the left side. A ricochets that one off the block and into the ceiling. You'd think the way the crowd reacted, Redeemer just won the set, but and just tied it back up at 26. Again, win by 2 still in effect. Not sure if there's an upper limit on that. If we get to 31 or something, then someone takes it. Don't think we'll get that far, but crazier things have happened. Zomerman now. That one just floated forever. Way out the back of Humber's court, unfortunately gives them set point again. And it's Enzo Endres the first-year player out of Sao Paulo. With service, we know he hits it with a lot of spin, a lot of dip. Service Eve will have to be ready for it. Bourne is set out of the middle, and that one's just long for the Royals. And this is going to be a set they're going to have to avenge the rest of this game. That one's going to hurt. And hopefully Redeemer can find their groove in the second set. And then the second half of the second set, that is really where they let it slip. In this one, great start by Redeemer. They definitely know that they can hang toe-to-toe with this team, and we'll see what makes the difference in the second set. But before we get there, I'd like to remind you that tonight's Redeemer Royals volleyball game is proudly brought to you by Finn Pools, a proud sponsor of your Royals and the Make a Splash move of the game. For over 25 years, Finn Pools has been transforming backyards with custom designs, expert installations, and trust in maintenance, delivering top-quality products they stand behind. From concept to completion, they believe kindness matters and every project deserves excellence. Visit finnpools.ca, that's FINNPOOLS.ca, to learn more or to start your next pool project today. Thank you to Finn Pools for supporting Redeemer Royals Athletics.
Christian College Athletic Association is dedicated to keeping Christ at the center of intercollegiate athletics, empowering student athletes and coaches to make a meaningful impact for Christ. Our member schools embody the love of Christ through our game plan for life. We serve 88 member schools across the United States and Canada. The NCCAA, where ring chasing and king chasing converge.
We start our second set of this game. Humber taking the first. With service from the Hawks through their setter, Nicholas Kozij. Hyberg gets under the set, and the set out to Simon Bourne on the left side. They're claiming a touch, and there was one. Point for the Royals. We've now got Redeemer setter Ben Brower serving. That one comes over. Blackmore with the pass. Kozij, quick set out of middle. It's now on the left side for the Royals. Bourne hits that one off the block and out of bounds for another point to Redeemer. Blackmore with the pass. Kozij set it to Blackmore again. Don't think there was a touch on that. Linesman calls nothing as far as the touch goes. Out of bounds. Long from Humber. Point goes the way of the Royals again. Brower. That one's into the net, unfortunately. Gives Humber their first point of the set. Apologize for that short break and also for the apparent mismatch in terms of the audio and video. Usually we have that setting adjusted, but it seems like it had been reset tonight. I hope this timing is better as we get Redeemer winning another point, pushing them out to a 5-2 lead. Get Luke Marshall to serve again for the Royals. The serve is over. Pass up by Segi, set from Kozic out to the left side for Gray Phillips. And that one's passed up by Blackmore into the rafters. Just an unforced error there by the Humber defense. And 6-2, the way of Redeemer. (7-3) the score in this second set in favor of the home team. Got a serve coming from Endres. Bourne gets under that one and gives a freebie to the Humber middle, Dante Sugarman, but he's unable to tip it back over the net. That one was right at the net, right in front of him. That's everything you'd want, but a chance squandered, unfortunately, and it will give service back to Redeemer in the form of Jeremiah Zomerman. Zomerman floats this one over. Andres passes it up. Kozic sets it out to the left side for Gray Phillips. Good pass by Segi and an impressive set by Kozic to the right side for Andres. And Grimm will be called for a double hit on that attempted set. We'll give Humber back a point as it's 8-4 now, the score. Kyle Gray Phillips, a fifth year out of Brampton, Ontario for the Hawks. And his serve is over via the top of the net. Bourne sets it out to Hybert. That one comes back off the block, still in play for the Royals, and Bourne now out of the back row. That one goes over. I don't know how it made it through. It looked like there were 2 or 3 men in that block, but somehow found a way through. Point goes the way of Redeemer. And we'll have Jonah Hybert serving. Pass up by Segi. Kozic to the far side for Blackmore. That one was way behind his head, but he found a way to get some really great contact on it. Redeemer got a touch, but not able to keep it up. That one's floated over. Bourne makes do and gets the pass back from Walcott. Gives a nice little attack to the back row. And that hit by Humber comes off the Redeemer block and out of bounds. Will be a point for the Hawks. Bourne with the pass to Brower. Back out to Bourne. He hits that one down the line. And out of bounds. Puts Humber back within 2. Taven Blackmore is one of 3 Humber players to be featured on the OCAA West First Team All-Star list last year, along with 2 of his Humber teammates. Neither of them are with the team anymore, it seems. They have moved on, but Humber still doing all right in terms of the OCAA table, as we've got Jack Demick now with the serve for the Royals. Blackmore gets under it. Kozic set to Endres, and that one is just low. Couldn't do much with it. Point for Redeemer. 11-7 now the score. Demick with the serve. That one's short. Into the net. And we'll have Nicholas Kozic going back to serve for Humber. Not much spin on that one. Hybert's able to keep it up. The hit from Bourne comes off the block and up, but Humber's still able to field it. Looks like that might have got a touch, but no. And my eyes have deceived me. That one's hit out of bounds by Humber. It'll be a point for Redeemer as we get Ben Brower to serve again. Brower with the serve. Punches that one long. I think it just catches the end line. It does via the linesman. Puts Redeemer 5 points up of Humber now. Brower with the serve. Catches the top of the net. Segi passes it back over to Redeemer. Set from Brower to the right side. Zomerman's there. Hits it off the block. Kozic keeps it alive. Segi now out to the right side for Blackmore. Hits that one off the block. And out of bounds. The point for Humber. Blackmore, who just scored that point a moment ago, now serving. Get a lot of power behind that serve, but Walcott takes it and makes an excellent pass. And Bourne's able to hit that one off the block and inbounds. Good enough for a point for the Royals. That's such a powerful serve. Blackmore gets so far into the court before he even hits it. So it's hit with so much power from even closer, and Walcott's still able to absorb all of it and make a great pass. Bourne firing a very powerful spinning serve of his own, and the eventual hit from Gray Phillips is out of bounds. Another point for the Royals. And we'll get a timeout from Humber here, though wanting to talk things over and slow some of the Redeemer momentum. And at this moment, we'd like to remind you that Redeemer Royals Volleyball would like to thank Wes Skillstra of Remax Escarpment Realty, the official sponsor of our final score updates this season. Wes is passionate about helping families find their place to call home. So whether you're buying or selling, trust experience and integrity, and trust Wes Skillstra of Remax Escarpment Realty. Thank you, Wes, for your ongoing support of Redeemer Royals Athletics. Out of the timeout, Bourne will resume his service. That one's hit directly at Blackmore. He kept that up well, and the eventual hit from Endres is off the Redeemer block into the ceiling for a Humber point. This is Apollo Braz now going back to the back line to serve. Quick set from Redeemer out of middle, sent back by Humber, and they'll retain a point after that. I've been watching and commentating this game for over 45 minutes, and this is the first time I've noticed that Apollo Braz is 6'8". And that hit coming out of the left side for the Royals, again, hit into a very, very thick block. Very strong block by the Hawks, comes back right to Redeemer, and they'll take a timeout, having suffered 3 straight points lost out of that timeout. Great little run by Humber. We'll see if Redeemer can take the momentum back. Braz with the serve again for the Hawks. That one just catches the end line. Like the last 2 times, it was a very close call for the linesman to make. I was able to kind of confirm that from up here, but that one was not really discernible from back in the booth. But point goes the way of Humber, and that's their 4th consecutive. Gap now only 2 between these 2 teams. That's an easy pass for Walcott as Ben Brower gets it out to the right side. Comes off the block, but still in play. Kozic now sets it out to the left for Gray Phillips. He really had to reach for that one. Heidbert unable to get it through the block, but Brower will set it back row for Bourne. It's back off the block again, and Redeemer tries to pass it up and hits it out of bounds. Unfortunately, going on quite a consequential skid here. Similar to what happened in the first set. Took a nice lead early, and then Humber got themselves right back into it. Nice pass from Walcott, and timed to perfection. Back set by Brower. Only had to push the ball up into the air a few inches. Luke Marshall was right there. Good timing by the middle. And yeah, Humber unable to react. Set up their defense. That's a point the way of Redeemer, with Marshall now to serve. Segi the pass. Kozic will get there and slide. Hits a set out to the left side. It's easy for Redeemer to keep up. Now set out to Zomerman. Blackmore now. Humber will give a free ball. Bourne now. Brower again out of the middle. This time Jack Demick in the right place at the right time. Able to hit that one on quite a steep angle. Not much at all you can do about that. Puts Redeemer's lead back to 3. And we'll have Marshall continue to serve for the Royals. Marshall now with the serve, just catches the top of the net, stays over though. Kozic now to the right side for Andres. Massive block by Demick, who just scored the point a minute ago. Continuing his stretch of good play. Getting a firm block on that one. Pushing Redeemer's lead up to 4. Still a ways to go before they can claim themselves victors of the second set. That serve from Marshall is good. Kozic sets Blackmore to the back row, and Marshall's under it. See if Brower can get a serve back in play. Bourne tips it, sets it over, and Endres, just with too much power on his pass up, hits it into the ceiling. Redeemer probably one of the lower ceilings in the OCAA, especially where those beams stick out. And it's something to be reckoned with, and it can definitely have an effect in this game. Redeemer, with all the momentum in their favor, the wind in their sails. And Luke Marshall enjoying a nice little streak of serving here. As I say that, that one hit errantly, deep and wide, into the back of Humber's side of the court, and we'll have Caleb Gold to serve for the Hawks, who trail Redeemer by 4. A left-handed serve passed up by Zomerman. Set from Brower to the left side. Inch perfect to Jonah Hybert, and he's able to hit that off the Humber block and out of bounds. Puts Redeemer's lead back up to 5. Zomerman now to serve for the Royals. Serve is over. Blackmore the pass. Kozic tries a nifty little tip. Grimm is there to read it. Brower the set to Demick. That one's off the block and into the floor from the Redeemer middle. Demick having some clutch points late in the second set. Redeemer losing the first set with kind of a little bit of a late demise as Humber caught up and Redeemer couldn't do much about it, but Redeemer putting their foot on the gas late in this set. Unfortunately just missing a serve there, but they had given themselves a little bit of a cushion to do so. They're closer to winning the game than they are to being caught by their opponent. Although when the opponent has service, it might be the other way around. We'll have to fend off some serves from Paul Mana here. 6'2" left side player out of Toronto. A powerful serve out to the back corner of Redeemer's side of the court. Walcott got a touch on it, unable to pass to his setter. Mana will serve again. Lead now only 4 for the Royals. Bourne under that one. A decent pass, just unable to keep it off the ceiling. Puts Humber within 3. Mana the serve. And he does Redeemer a favor, hitting that one out of bounds himself. Restores Redeemer's 4-point lead. That scoreboard should be corrected as that point was awarded to Humber. Should be 22-18, I believe, instead of 21-19. There we go. Looks like we'll resume play with Hybert serving for Redeemer. 3 points from the end of the set, 4 points ahead of their opponent. Jonah Hybert. It's over the net. The pass is close to the ceiling, but Gold will give a free ball. That one almost caught Redeemer in a defensive hole. Bourne hits that one back off the block. Set out to Bourne again. Tipped off the block. It'll go back to Humber. Set out to the left side for Blackmore. And now a back set to the back row for Redeemer. Hit well by Hybert, but off the block. And inbounds by Humber will give them a point and keeps Humber alive. (22-19) now, the lead for the Royals, and we'll have Raphael Werner coming in to serve. He gets that serve over. It's passed by Bourne and set back out to him. The tip, it's kept up. It'll be free for the Royals as that one's set to Demick. And he hits that one off the block, inbounds. Big point from Jack Demick. Powerful hit. Puts Redeemer just 2 points away from the end of this set. As well as Isaac Vrogdenhill, who came in the first set to serve just like he's about to do now, in place of one of Redeemer's middle. This time being Jack Demick. Last time it was Luke Marshall, and we'll have Humber call a timeout, maybe to ice the setter here. But as we near the end of the set, I'd like to remind you that tonight's Redeemer Royals volleyball game is proudly brought to you by Finn Pools, a proud sponsor of your Royals and the Make a Splash move of the game. For over 25 years, Finn Pools has been transforming backyards with custom designs, expert installations, and trusted maintenance, delivering top-quality products they stand behind. From concept to completion, they believe kindness matters and every project deserves excellence. Visit finnpools.ca to learn more or to start your next pool project today. That's FINNPOOLS.ca. Thank you to Finn Pools. Vrogdenhill with the serve for the Royals. Not a lot of spin on that ball. And, I mean, he made a great defensive effort trying to keep that ball up and in play. But it'll go the way of Humber. And we'll get Walcott checking into the game for serve receive. Hybert. Brower tips it over. Segi with the pass. Kozic now sets Gould. The Redeemer gets the block on it, and it pops up into the air again. It's the second time that's happened so far where Redeemer gets the block and then just is unable to locate it and make a play on the ball. And it looks like Redeemer will take a timeout of their own. Now just being 2 points ahead of Humber. We're really getting a replay of the first set here and getting your money's worth in terms of a close game, folks. Guess now that we've got another timeout, I'll take the opportunity to thank Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty, the official sponsor of Redeemer Royals Varsity Athletics final score updates this season. Wes is passionate about helping families find their place to call home. So whether you are buying or selling, trust experience and integrity and trust Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty. We thank you, Wes, for your ongoing support of Redeemer Royals Athletics. Kozic, the serve. Walcott, the pass. Quick set out of the middle. Walcott's there to pass it up again. Brower set it to the left side. Bourne tips it over. Blackmore now back onto the Royal side of the court. Tries to dump it down. Bourne's after it. Keeps it in play. Walcott will have to give a free ball. Set to the back row. That one's off the block and inbounds. A great play by Paul Manna coming out of the back row. A great hit. Perfectly into the block and down on Redeemer's side of the court. Gives Kozic a chance to level the game. Bourne with the first pass. He'll get the set out to the left side. And that one's going out of bounds, but Manna passed it up. Hybert now. And Blackmore hitting it with his left hand down the line to tie up this set at 23. I don't think we went back in time and are just reliving the first set again, but it sure feels like it. 23-23, Humber with service. Hybert with the pass up. A quick attack of the middle. Walcott's there to give Redeemer another chance. Set out to the back row for Hybert. That one's off the Humber block and out of bounds. Point for the Royals. 24-23, set points. They had this chance last set. We were in the same position, I think, 24-23. And it eventually ended up being Humber 27-26 or 28-27. But we'll see if Redeemer can get the job done here. So we get the ceremonial clap from the fans. Brower with the serve over. Blackmore. Kozich now. Back to Blackmore. Rifled it at Carson Grimm. Unable to make a pass on that play. And I do not blame him even one bit. I know he's going to want to have passed that one up and kept the game alive, but it still is. Tie game 24-24. We're in a win by 2 situation now. So this is not set point anymore. Blackmore with the serve. Gets it just over the net. Nice pass by Walcott. And a nice back set. And great placement by Simon Bourne. Picking out the complete opposite side of the court and maybe getting a little bit of help from the ball rolling along the top of the net. But a great placed attack by Simon Bourne. And he'll have the chance here with serve to end this set. Set point way of the Royals. Ball is up. The serve is over. That one's deep from Simon Bourne. Maybe got a little bit excited. Or just really wanted another 25-25 set. I'm kidding. We'll get Humber to serve here again. This will be Apollo Braz. A 6'8" middle. Walcott under it. Brower with the setup to the right side. That's Zomerman climbing high. Redeemer with another chance. Now out of middle. It's sent back. Ball still in play out to the left side now. Try all three, why don't you? Kozich set to the back row for Blackmore. Easy pass for Walcott. Brower now set to the back row for Bourne. That one's passed up, but at the net, the Royals are. And it's dunked by the Royals. They're able to keep it up off the net. It'll be a free ball, though. Walcott now. Brower out to the back row for Bourne. And it's fumbled by Humber on the defensive end, giving Redeemer a 1-point lead, 26-25. That's not the game yet, as we get a substitute, Luke Yonker, in to serve for the set. A lot of pressure on the young man, but he's been subbed in for just this reason. We'll see if he can deliver. This would be heartbreak if Redeemer lost these first 2 sets, considering the fashion in which they'd happened. Looks like there's a little bit of a slippery area being taken care of on the Humber side of the court. I don't want any of these plays to be won by an accident. It'd be terrible if someone slipped mid-play, especially when the stakes are this high. The crowd is clapping. Yonker with the serve. It's over the net. Kozich the set to the middle. Out of bounds. Redeemer takes the second set by a score of 27-25 with a gift from Humber at the end, setting their attack wide. And that equals this game up at 1-1. We've got a great one tonight. If you're just tuning in, this is going to be a great clash between these two teams. And if you're considering leaving, what are you thinking? We've got set 3 to come. And we'll take a little bit of a break and see you back there for the start of the third set.
There's a place where discoveries are made, where directions are set, where hopes become real. This is your future. Come, uncover what it means to reflect the love of Jesus Christ in every career and calling. Come to learn, find a community. Listen closely. Your future is calling.
Set number 3 now underway as Ben Brower starts it off with a serve. A very direct serve, just skimming over the top of the net. Humber passes it into the ceiling. And Redeemer getting the first point in each of the first 3 sets so far. Brower with the second serve, very direct again. Passed by Gray Phillips, now set out to the right side for Andres. And that one's off the Redeemer block and out of bounds for a Humber point. So we've got Walcott, the libero, come into the game for the Royals, and Kozich serving for the Hawks. A little floating serve. Bourne tries to get an arm on it, but it spins off his pass and out of bounds. Pass to Bourne again, this time set well. And a quick set to middle as we've got Silas Brookelman checking into the game for the first time tonight. Second-year player out of Burlington. That set was just a little bit low for him to do anything with, but... And that serve from Kozich, long and out of bounds. Bourne now serving for Redeemer. Very well hit, but the libero for Humber doing a great job to get under that one. And it eventually goes the way of Redeemer. Serve from Bourne. It's hit back over to Redeemer's side of the court on the attempted pass, and now set out to Zomerman. Comes off the block, but Humber's able to keep it in play. Endres now attacking out of the left side. Pass from Bourne. Set it to the left side now. Hybert tips it over, but it looks like we had a call against Redeemer early in the play. It's not clear to me what it was for, but point awarded to Humber. Looks like it was called just about as Simon Bourne made that first pass, but we move on as Taven Blackmore serves now for the Hawks. Walcott under it, sends a perfect pass to Ben Brower. Do not know how he can physically do that, but it's needed for the Royals right now as this set gets to Zomerman on the right side. He's unable to hit it through the block. That gives Humber a 5-3 lead early on in this third set. Blackmore again with a powerful serve. Walcott equal to it. Brower now the set to Bourne in the back row. His hit comes off the block. Segi passes it to Kozic. Now up to Gray Phillips. It's tipped back by Redeemer, and Blackmore hustling to get a hand on it. Almost keeps it up. But point goes the way of Redeemer. They still trail by 1, and it'll be Silas Brookelman to serve. Serve comes over from Brookelman. Bit of a knuckleball passed by Blackmore. Segi now with the set up to the right side. And Andres is there to tip it down in front of the Redeemer pass. It gives Humber back their 2-point lead. This is Bras now for the Hawks. Bourne with the pass. And Walcott gets the second, hits it off the rafters. Gives Humber a 3-point lead now. Although, at least in the past 2 sets, an early lead was not necessary to win either of those sets, as they both went over the 25-point mark for both teams. I don't think that hit ever made it over the net. It just came back without a touch. So that'll be a Humber point. Bourne now set to Demick. Kozic set to Blackmore in the back row. That one's drilled straight at Ben Brower. He can't make a pass, and it'll be a point for Humber. And an early timeout called by Redeemer. Now kind of on the other side of the scoreboard, as they were leading early in both of those first 2 sets. I'll have to play the Humber role and try and mount a comeback. But as these 2 teams talk it over, I'd like to remind you that tonight's Redeemer Royals volleyball game is proudly brought to you by Finn Pools, a proud sponsor of your Royals and the Make a Splash move of the game. For over 25 years, Finn Pools has been transforming backyards with custom designs, expert installations, and trusted maintenance, delivering top-quality products they stand behind. From concept to completion, they believe kindness matters and every project deserves excellence. Visit finnpools.ca, that's FINNPOOLS.ca, to learn more or to start your next pool project today. Thank you to Finn Pools. Bras still serving for Humber as that one almost hits the ceiling. Demick has to kind of, I would say lift, but usually not allowed in volleyball, but he gets it over, but the returning hit from Humber wins themselves another point. So they've now got a 6-point lead over the Royals early in this set. Serve coming from the Hawks again is deep, and it catches the back line. Redeemer was forward in their serve receive, weren't really covering the back line, or they just believed that it was going to carry long, but that one just catches the back line and puts Redeemer now 7 back. So we've now got number 5, Caleb Bosveld's first action of tonight, the 3rd year coming in. We're giving Simon Bourne a break, it seems. The serve from Bras set to Brower. He has to keep that one on his side of the court, but it looks like he reached over onto the other side of the court in order to do so. Not allowed. But this set is quickly getting away for the Royals. Or sorry, getting away from the Royals as Humber's up 8. Brower set up to Hybert, and they finally were able to win that one back. A couple touches off the Humber defense as it goes out of bounds. Gives Redeemer's service back, and it'll be Jeremiah Zomerman to take. It's usually not middles who go on serving streaks, but I believe our 2 longest serving streaks today were possibly Marshall in the first set and now Braz in this third set. But it's probably more what was happening in open play that was keeping the ball with one particular team. But we've now got Andres serving for Humber. So they're 8 points ahead, 13-5. A lot of spin, a lot of dip coming. And that one fights its way through the rafters. Makes it through the holes in the crisscrossing beams. Allows Redeemer to keep the play alive, and they'll get a point out of it. That is just sheer luck and probability. But if it happens, it happens. It's legal and it works. Redeemer will take it, as Hybert now gets to serve for the Royals. Try to go on a run and bring them back closer to Humber, who's running away with this third set. As Gray Phillips gets that hit and a touch off the block and inbounds to win Humber yet another point. This is Kyle Gray Phillips now serving for the Hawks. 5th-year player. And it looks like it'll be a point for Humber. The Redeemer serve receive was fairly confident that that was going out of bounds. The linesman issues the call is in, and it looks like Redeemer will take a timeout. Already 9 back. Humber almost equally as far away from the winning the game as they are from Redeemer. We'll take a quick break for the timeout and be right back. Got another Royal getting their first action of the evening in Zach Brower, the first-year setter out of Ingersoll, Ontario. Gets his first set, and it's a peach right to Jack Demick. That one's hit off the block, passed up, but into the rafters by Humber. Will give Redeemer the point. Good first involvement from the substitute setter. Demick now. Serving, Blackmore passes it up. It's a back row to Gray Phillips. Demick keeps it up with the pancake. Zomerman will have to give a free ball. And it's in. Pick the absolute back corner of the court. That was an improbable possession, I guess you can call it, by Redeemer. First a pancake, saving it off the ground by Demick, and a nice placement from Zomerman. Demick with the serve again. Andres now. Demick under it for the first pass. Brower with the setup to the right side for Zomerman. He hammers it. It's too much for Segi to absorb. And Redeemer gets themselves another point, now moving within 6, is it now? Demick unfortunately puts that one short into the net, but Redeemer got 3 quick points out of the timeout, which is what they wanted. Dante Sugarman now for the Hawks. Brouwer set to the left side for Bosveld. He tips it over. Andres keeps it up. Kozic will have to do a lot with this set. Blackmore tried to get it over, but he couldn't. It was too low by the time he got to it. Comes back off the net and gives Redeemer the point. They'll be in double digits now as we get the new substitute, Zach Brouwer, to the back line to serve. That one's served down the line. I think it missed the outside of the antenna. So it wouldn't have counted anyways, I think, even if it had touched the line. But Kozic now. Bosveld's under it. Brouwer with the set. That one's a bit low, unfortunately. Brooklyn was in the right place at the right time to receive it, but that set just not perfectly placed. Humber back up 8. Now closer to winning the game than they are to their opponents. But Bosveld with a pass. Brouwer now sets it out to the right side for Bosveld. Unfortunately, he gets under that one and sends it a bit long. 9 points now the difference between these two teams. Wes Skilstra letting this one run. No timeout necessary. Wants to let his team figure it out. Walcott with the first pass. Brouwer with the second. Out to Zomerman for the hit. That's off the block and into the ground for a point for Redeemer. Keeping themselves in this game, but they'll need to start turning the tables to stay in this set. Caleb Bosveld goes back to serve. A nice serve from Bosveld. Segi keeps it up for Humber. Grimm got under the pass, but didn't really give it much height. Didn't really give the time for anyone to get there to get the second, unfortunately. As Humber gets to 20, Redeemer still at 11. We've got Humber starting setter Kozic coming out of the game for Sullivan Kofel. Blackmore now the serve. Walcott's under it. Zomerman with the second ball, and Bosveld out of the back row hits a nice ball. Gray Phillips tries the tip, but it's sent back. Tries to hit this time, but it's off Redeemer and out of bounds. Will be a point for Humber as they get ever closer to winning this third set. Blackmore with the serve now. Comes off the top of the net. That's just unfortunate. It made that serve a lot more unpredictable. Looks like the narrative of the first two sets has not been applied to this one. Humber turning the tables a little bit and getting out to an early lead this time. They were the team that kind of made late comebacks in each of the first two sets, and Redeemer hasn't been able to mount one of their own this set as Blackmore gets another serve, launches that one out of bounds. Keeps Redeemer alive. Anything can happen, but it's going to take a lot of consistently good play without any mistakes for the Royals. Brookelman will get the chance to start it off with a serve here. But his serve floated out the back a good few feet long. We'll give Humber the points and put them 2 points away from the end of this set as we've got Braz serving again, who was serving for a good long time earlier this set, and Heibert just unfortunately gets a little bit too much power on his set, sends it into the rafters, which grants Humber set point, having doubled the Royals' point tally in this set, which is just not what you would have guessed after watching the first two. Braz with set point unleashes a little bit of power. That is something he had not done on any other of his serves, but he hit a line drive at Redeemer's third receive just a moment ago. And the eventual hit from Endres on the right side for the Hawks is out of bounds, keeping Redeemer alive. But that was quite the switch up on Apollo Braz's final serve. He really wanted to emphatically win set point, but unfortunately wasn't able to for his squad. Zomerman now with the chance to respond, floats it. Amana with the first pass. And it's off of Grimm into the ceiling, and that'll do the third set justice. Humber taking that one, but no matter how much you win a set by, it's still only a set. The slate is wiped clean, and we start the fourth set. Redeemer trailing 2-1, heading into the fourth. We'll see if they can equal it up and send this thing to a fifth.
There's a place where discoveries are made, where directions are set, where hopes become real. And your next big step will take you there. This is your future. There's space to find real answers. Discover your gifts. Think deeply, look wide, create, worship, innovate, lead, and uncover what it means to reflect the love of Jesus Christ in every career and calling. This is your calling. Come to learn, find a community, deepen your faith. This is your place. Listen closely. Your future is calling.
The Christian College Athletic Association is dedicated to keeping Christ at the center of intercollegiate athletics, empowering student athletes and coaches to make a meaningful impact for Christ. Our member schools embody the love of Christ through our game plan for life: love, integrity, faith, and excellence. With 23 national championship events, we serve 88 member schools across the United States and Canada. The NCCAA, where ring chasing and king chasing converge.
Kozich with the first serve of the fourth set. So we got to set it to Zomerman for the Royals. He careened that one into the floor, but it was somehow kept up by Humber, but Ben Brower puts that point home with a little bit of a surprise tip over the net. And caught Humber off guard once again, as he did in the first set with that same play. As a reward for his efforts, he'll get to serve for the Royals now. Blackmore sends it back to the Royal side of the court with his first pass. Tips it over again. Carson Grimm's under it. Ben Brower with the set now. To the back row for Hybert. That one's just long. We'll equal this fourth set at 1-1. And again, Redeemer winning the first point of every single set so far. It's not significant, and it's not, I guess, helping them win the game overall so far, but it is true. We've got Taven Blackmore with his first serve. Walcott's under it. That one's just a bit too far, and point will go to Humber. It looks like Redeemer kind of reached over the midline, over the net. They've been called on a good few of those today, and I don't think Humber has been called on one themselves, so it's important to be disciplined around the net. It'll cost you a few points here and there, and it can definitely make the difference, as we saw in the first couple sets. Blackmore with the serve. Heidbert's under it, and it's just so hard to absorb all the power that Blackmore can get on his serve. Those are two really great passes back-to-back by Walcott and Heidbert, but both just really about half a foot off being where they need to be, but that's enough to change the entire dynamic of the point and give service right back to last year's OCAA Player of the Year. Walcott opting for the set this time and corrals it for Redeemer. Kozic now sets to the back row. Blackmore was flying in, but just had to set it, take all the power off it. That time he did not, but it was wide and out of play for a Redeemer point. Bourne now with his first serve of the set. Seggy's under it. Gray Phillips now with the second ball, and Blackmore will have to give a free ball. Brower with the setup to the left side for Heidbert. That one was going out of bounds, but Blackmore keeps it in. And Gray Phillips with the veteran play, knowing how to hit it off the block and down to give Humber a point out of a kind of tricky situation. Apollo Braz now serving for Humber. Brower set for the Royals. Zomerman, a powerful hit. Blackmore got a touch, but not enough to keep it in play. Luke Marshall now for the Royals, back in after being sat for Silas Brookelman for a little bit. And we get the other Redeemer middle. Jack Demick getting the block on. No point for Humber. I must have missed that one. Regardless, point goes the way of Humber, and they'll keep serve. This will be Enzo Endres now. Bourne with the pass, but it'll go back onto Humber's side of the court off Redeemer's first touch. Brower with a nice little diving and rolling pass to keep it up. And we'll get a net violation against Humber to give Redeemer the point. And Jonah Heidbert. No, sorry, Jeremiah Zomerman will be the one to serve for the Royals. Andres with the first pass. Kozic now set to Sugarman. That one was under him. He wasn't able to do much with it. Heidbert now hits it at Blackmore. He does well to keep it up. Andres now attacking out of the right side. Hits it off the Royals block and into the floor. Good enough for another Humber Hawks points to keep their lead at 2. So we've got the 5th-year Kyle Gray Phillips going back to serve. Powerful serve from Gray Phillips, but Bourne does really well to take all the momentum off that. And Heidberg gets a nice touch off the block on his hit to give Redeemer the point. Heidbert unfortunately setting that one short into the net. Give Humber service through Dante Sugarman. Walcott. And Brower sets it to Demick out of middle. Humber keeps it up. Andres will have to send it over and does. Demick feels like taking a swing, maybe a little bit ambitious out of the Redeemer middle there. It was a little bit far off the net to be taking a hit on the second touch, but definitely could have worked. Just a bit of a misplaced hit from Jack Demick there. Sugarman again, the serve. Walcott's there. Set by Brower. It's a Zomerman who climbed 2 ladders to get to that one, it seems. Great hit out of the right side. Nothing Humber can do about it. Wins Redeemer the point. And Redeemer's third-year middle, Jack Demick now with the chance to serve. Gets that one over. Blackmore almost fumbles it, but it's up for a hit from Andres, and Demick with a nice hustle diving play to at least get a touch on it to try and keep it up, but is unable to as Humber regains their 3-point lead. Serve from Sugarman. Walcott's under it. Back set from Brower to Zomerman again. Again, putting a lot of space between his feet and the ground. Getting up for that one, but unable to get it over the net to cause Humber any problems. As Humber regains a 4-point lead. But that one will be sent to the net from Kozich. And you come back around the horn for Ben Brower to serve, as that one's quickly set to the middle to Braz, but he puts too much downward motion on that too quickly, doesn't make it over the net. Gives Redeemer another point, closing the gap to 2 between these two squads. One catches the net and just goes over. Blackmore is blocked. Sets the right side for Zomerman now. Redeemer keeps it alive. They'll have to give this one free. Segi, Kozich. And Blackmore hits that one off the Redeemer block. And unfortunately does not land in bound for the Royals. We'll give the point to Humber, and Blackmore is again serving for the Hawks. Walcott's under that pass, a little bit close to the net for Brower, but he's able to salvage it. And Luke Marshall reaches way back behind his head to get it off his fingertips. And he found a hole in the Humber defense. Able to get the point for Redeemer as we get Simon Bourne now serving for the Royals. Serve is up from Bourne over the net. Blackmore, the first pass. Kozich set out to Gray Phillips. That one's off the Redeemer block and just stays in the back end of Humber's court for a Redeemer point. They'll bring themselves back within 1. The chance to tie this set up. So it'd be quite an improvement on last set, because when Redeemer had 11 points last set, Humber had 22. But this time it would be them having the same if Redeemer's able to win this point. But when Taven Blackmore is coming out of the back row and hitting the ball like that, it's very difficult to win that specific point, at least. Humber puts themselves back up 2 as Apollo Braz serving. And a quick set from Brower. Marshall getting the hit off the block. Kind of redirects the hit. confuses the Humber defense. It lands just in bounds at the back of the court, getting another point to Redeemer, who are back within one. We've got Isaac Vergenhill making his third appearance to serve for one of the Redeemer middles. Gets this one in play. Andres, and it's a quick set to Sugarman, but stays with Humber. They'll give a free ball to Redeemer. Brower with the setup to the left side. Hybert. It looks like, I thought Humber came over the net to make that play. I could be wrong. Regardless, point goes the way of Humber. They reestablish their 2-point lead. Brower with the quick set to Demick. He's able to hit that down on a very steep angle in the right place at the right time with a set so near to the net. Winning Redeemer another point and a chance to again level the game with the serve. Serve from Zoverman is over. Andres reaching way back to keep that one in play. And point awarded to Redeemer. Might get a lift, or sorry, a double hit call on that one. Humber not particularly happy about that call. But receiving unwanted calls from the referee is definitely a two-way street. Both teams are affected by it, so Zomerman now. Andres. Gray Phillips. Well, would you look at that? No one able to get in the way of that hit from Kyle Gray Phillips. As we get number 6, Paul Manna, come back into the game, who's had some very impactful appearances so far tonight. Maybe threw that, threw his self-toss a little bit far forward, maybe. It looks like he was kind of galloping to keep up with it and ended up hitting it low into the net. Maybe just not the perfect toss for that one, but it levels this set at 14. We've got Jonah Hybert with the serve. It's over the net, passed up by Segi. Kozic now the set out to Blackmore. Zomerman got under it and made a pass, but it wasn't to the right spot. It'll be Dante Sugarman to serve now for Humber. Walcott to Brower. That one's a bit close to the net, but Bourne climbs the ladder and gets two hands on it. Keeps it on Humber's side of the court. Well done by Simon Bourne going up against a two-man block. That one's now set to the back row, hit by Jonah Hybert, but that's out of bounds. No touch from Humber, and will be a point for the Hawks. Sugarman allowed to proceed. Walcott with the first pass. Brower the second. Keeps it off the roof. Zomerman from the back row. Manna passes it up and Demick's out the net to tip that one straight down and bring Redeemer back within one. Demick with the serve. First pass by Manna. Kozic now with the setup to Blackmore. Demick under it. Brower trying to keep it alive, but there are a couple things standing in his way of doing so. Humber gets themselves back up too, but Redeemer definitely sticking around. I don't think Humber's had a 3-point lead in a very long time this set. Redeemer's definitely been keeping themselves close for opportunities like that. Marshall sends one. with a lot of power into the ground. Great hit by Luke Marshall. Ben Brower sends that one a little bit long. Gives Humber back their desired 2-point lead. Well, I'm sure they'd like a lot more than that, but with Taven Blackmore serving, they have the opportunity to extend it. Very powerful, accurate serves coming from the hand of Blackmore, a fifth-year player. And Royals will take a timeout. They saw they saw themselves 3-point back, and they were fine with 2, but 3 is too much. We'll take a timeout. They'll talk things over, and we'll be right back.
There's a place where discoveries are made, where directions are set, where hopes become real. This is your future. Come, uncover what it means to reflect the love of Jesus Christ in every career and calling. Come to learn, find a community. Listen closely. Your future is calling.
Humber with service out of the timeout. Blackmore with the serve. Hybert's under it. But his pass goes out of bounds and will give Humber a 4-point margin. Blackmore with another serve. That one's kept alive. This will be a free ball from Zomerman. Kozic now with the set to Blackmore to the back row. And that's just tough to deal with. Ben Brower was in the right place to make a pass on it, but again, as I've said so many times, just hard to take all the power off it that Blackmore puts onto it. And so many of those passes that Redeemers tried to do when Blackmore hits out of the back row have just ended up in the ceiling because of how much power he puts on it. So, an unfortunate situation to catch yourself in. Redeemer will take another timeout. And at this time, Redeemer Royals Volleyball would like to thank Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty, the official sponsor of our Final Score updates this season. Wes is passionate about helping families find their place to call home. So whether you're buying or selling, trust experience and integrity, and trust Wes Skilstra of Remax Escarpment Realty. Thank you, Wes, for your ongoing support of Redeemer. Caleb Bosveld coming back into the game for the Royals as they look to reverse this 5-point deficit that they've got going on. And it started with a great pass from Simon Bourne. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the play with a hit inbounds. Humber now up 6 after just being up 2 for most of this second set. Kind of both teams going back and forth, but Redeemers lost a little bit of their momentum, even having to use a couple of timeouts, but nothing has turned the set around yet so far. But Taven Blackmore is having his way, serving. The 5th year and reigning OCAA Player of the Year in men's volleyball. Definitely seeing a lot of evidence as to why he was presented with that honor. And he keeps hitting wonderful serves, but that was a fantastic pass by Andrew Walcott. They get a set out to the left side for Bosveld, and it finds its way in between the Humber block and the net. Stays in bounds, and Redeemer will get a point to get themselves back within 6. As Jeremiah Zomerman checks back into the game, Simon Bourne goes back to serve. Now or never for the Royals, as Humber's currently up 2-1 in sets. Hybert hitting that one off the block, and Blackmore hitting it into the ceiling. We'll give the point to Redeemer, who now are just 5 back of Humber. If Humber takes this set, the game is over, and they'll have taken both meetings between these two teams this year 3-1. Redeemer will see if they can stop that. Bourne with the serve. Blackmore with the first pass. Kozic keeps it up. It'll be a free ball from Humber. Brower set to the back row for Bourne. That's off the block and deep. Blackmore keeps it in. Mana. It's up from the Royals. And point awarded to Humber. I'm not sure for what. Maybe a net violation? It's a consequential decision there, but if it's the right call, then it's the right call. But it gives Humber set point and game point, match point, all of those things. And it'll be Raphael Werner to come in and serve for the match, if he can do so on this point. Passes up from Bourne, the set from Brower, and another violation against Redeemer, their 4th hit. That one didn't come off any of the Humber players, but just off the net. Humber gets 25 points in the 4th set. They'll take this evening's match 3-1. A well-fought battle by the Royals, especially in the first two. They were able to get the lead in both of those first 2 sets, and Humber staged some comebacks to make those 2 ones close, but in the 3rd and 4th set, Humber just got away early, and Redeemer was never truly able to catch up, but still well-fought battle by the Royals. A lot of fans in attendance. I had a great time commentating. As for myself, Jared Meyer, that is all of our action tonight. Our next game, we'll see if I can pull this up for a second here. The next time the Royals will be at home for volleyball. This being their first home game of this semester. They will be away on the road at Boreal, January 23rd. But we'll have top-of-the-table Cambrian on Saturday, January 24th at 8 p.m., an evening game for a Saturday. Interesting, but that will be held at the Redeemer Athletic Center. So if you're able to tune in, we will see you on the live stream or in Ancaster for that game between Redeemer and Cambrian. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll catch